What's up, guys, gals, everything in between and out of the spectrum? My name is Joe Dirt, and welcome back to our channel. And today we are going to finish off the part 2 to the filling out a character sheet. So today we're going to actually go through and there's going to be two ways that we're going to do this. We're going to look back at the classic paper style D&D character sheet, as well as looking at D&D Beyond as well. So before we get into this, I would like to thank you guys all so much for your support and loving the last part of that video. Thank you guys so much. And before we get into it, if you guys would like to support me, hit the subscribe button, as well as follow me on Twitch, where we play a live campaign every Friday, and all the episodes are up here on YouTube as well. So thank you all so much for that. And this will we're going to be going over classes and everything like that as well, so be sure to look at go through the video and pick out everything that you are going to like. We're not going to go into every class because that would make this video 3 hours long, but we are going to be specifically looking at wizards, and we're not going to go into the subclasses, but we are going to be making a level 3 character just so that way we can reach into the subclasses in order to know what we're looking for. And without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, everybody. So the first thing that we're going to need is, if you're going to be doing this by paper and pencil, first you are going to need the character sheet if you have the physical copy. And you're also going to need a 4d6. So they're the little cube ones that have 6 sides to them. That's why they're called a d6. And then we're also, since we are using building a wizard, it's the easiest because they have the lowest hit dice. You can use one of those hit dice to roll the HP for the wizard as well. So be sure to not use pen, especially when filling out a physical character sheet. Not even for HP or anything, because you're going to be doing a lot of erasing. And the only thing you can, if you really want to, is you can write the character name and inside the character sheet in pen. But even that I wouldn't do, just because if for RP reasons your character changes their name because they're being hunted by assassins, and it's just like, no, I don't want to be known by that name anymore, then definitely do not write in pen. And especially for hit points and everything like that, you don't want to do that. So to make everything easy, we are going to be using the character builder here on D&D Beyond as well, just so that way you guys can see everything clearly, and everything can slot into place perfectly as well. And if you guys are wondering about D&D Beyond as well, this video is not sponsored by D&D Beyond. I just have been using D&D Beyond for the last 2 years, and for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, it is one of the possibly the best tool sets for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, in my opinion, because it makes everything so easy to do. You can build a character in less than 30 minutes, depending on how in depth you want to go, but all of the things slot into the same place. And then at the end, we'll go through and we'll look at everything, and you'll see the character sheet on D&D Beyond, and I will reference everything as well, just because it'll be easier than typing everything in. So first thing we're going to do is, up here, we're going to look at a character name. And then we already have class and level. So if you want to make a character, I'm going to be using one of my all-time favorites, and that is Zexel Skyborn. If you guys know, then oh my god, if I can spell. If you guys know Final Fantasy 14, then it is a throwback to 14, but prior to D&D. What we're gonna put in here is we're just gonna put in a wizard, just whiz, and then level we're gonna put in 3, because this is where if you do like cross class, so like a wizard into like a sorcerer, or a sorcerer into a wizard or something like that, or an int based caster, or if you get roll high enough for things of that nature, then that's where you'll put those. And then background we'll get into, and then player name, obviously you can write the player name if you really needed to. We'll put in Joe, and then race, and then alignment, and then XP we'll get into later, but let's do this over here. I wrote a T, but we'll get that all in there. And then the picture, I'm not going to worry about the picture, just because that's all aesthetic on here. And then for people using, say you go through this on D&D Beyond, depending on, these are all Dungeon Master setting. I just have all of these turned on, just because we're going to be using the maximum rule set, which is up to Tasha's Cauldron. So everything is unlocked in this case, but that would be something you'd have to talk about to your DM. And then, we have the prerequisite for the everything like that, and then ignoring forfeits feats and multi-class requirements. And then for this, I think we're gonna do the basic human wizard. So we're gonna hit change race up here. So these are all the races. You do have custom lineages now with Tasha's, so you can build essentially your own race, and however you want to do that. Now, I'm not going to go in depth. Leave a comment below if you guys want to see me go in depth through all the current races for 5th edition's Dungeons and Dragons. I'd be more than happy. Just slap a like on the video, and I'll be more than happy to go through all the races and all the sub races, because guys, look, there is a lot. I won't be going into lore of them, but it would be cool to get a look at them. But we're just gonna take the basic human, and for me, if you want to play the weaker human, you can, which is the regular human. Always go for variant human, and like I said, I have pretty much all of the books on D&D Beyond. That's why that this makes it easier for me. And then you can choose race, and then that will come up here. And now these are a few things that are going to be on the character sheets, as well as this is where we're going to go into race, which is human. And then alignment we'll get into. And right now, if you really want to put something, if you're doing an XP by like XP campaign instead of milestone, the difference between XP is every mob has an XP marker, and typically your experience can be done through role playing or just killing monsters. If you're doing a dungeon dive and that's all you're caring about, like how many bodies can I rack up, that's where the XP comes in. And it also depends on the DM and the campaign you're running, so don't go around murdering everything just like, oh, it has XP though. That's not how it works. I prefer milestone, just so that way if I throw a whole bunch of mobs at you and then you guys just RP for a whole entire session, or you guys are just RPing and there's no killing for like months, which is fine. That's where the fun comes in. You guys can still gain experience. And then for alignment, we'll get into later. It's, in my opinion, alignment does serve a purpose, but it depends on the DM and the campaign. So I don't think we'll get into alignment too much. But choosing an alignment really depends on you and how the role play of your character goes. So I mean, that depends on what you're looking to do. Now, as a human, we do get a language, so bear that in mind. You can speak, read, write, common, and one extra language of your choice. Humans typically learn the language of other people they deal with, including their dialects, and they are fond of sprinkling their speech with words borrowed from other tongues, orc curses, elvish musical expressions, and dwarvish military phrases, and so on. So this one is super cool, and I think we're gonna choose Elvish because Zexel is he is going to be a blade singing wizard. And this is also cool because if you have Origin Maker, you can switch things around, but we're going to be using the base of it, and then ability score increases. We are going to give him an intelligence boost as well as a dexterity. So you can choose two different abilities to increase your scores by 1. So your ability scores are what we spoke about in the last video, which are these strength, dex, con, int, wisdom, and charisma. And the thing with wizards is they are intelligence based casters. So when they cast a spell, it's all about your intelligence, how smart you are, because they're book learned. So that is the route. And since we're going blade singing wizard, they do have a bit of combat focused as well, so dexterity will help because he is going to be a dexterity based wizard. And then this cool thing about this is since we chose with the skills, we can choose what we would like. So I think we're going to do acrobatics since we're going to be doing a lot of with the blade singing wizard. When you have your blade song active, you get advantage, so we want to bolster that with acrobatics. And then with feat, since again this is what makes variant humans so strong, we can choose a feat. I'm not going to go into feats a lot, but we are going to choose alert, which is, you know, we get a little bit more onto initiative, and we can't be surprised while we're conscious. Other creatures don't gain advantage on attack rolls for being unseen as well, so that helps with the invisibility and stuff of that nature. So again, with the feats and everything like that, you would put them under features and traits, and then languages down here as well. So that's why you can do a lot of those on the normal character sheet. So that's where you would write them. And also with the class, now that the race is taken care of, we move over to class. Now I'm not gonna like, I could do a video on all of the current classes as well, but that's a lot of work. However, eventually I would like to, but we're gonna choose wizard, and then up here we're gonna choose level 3. And this is the basic class features. So these are your hit point die. It is the hit dice is 1d6 per wizard level, and then you'd have a constitution modifier which you would add for the plus the 1d6 per level. And then this is where if you wanted to just use the minimum, you could do 4 plus your constitution modifier if you didn't want to roll, if you didn't want to risk it. But of course, we are a risky bunch here. So we're going to choose, these are proficiencies. You get 2 with the class at level 1. So if you look underneath here on D&D Beyond, it does say level 1, and then you get 2 choices at level 1. These unlock at level 1. So we have our armor, none, because we as wizards don't use armor. And weapons, we have daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaff, light bows, and then tools, we don't get any tools. And then saving throws, as I said, intelligence and wisdom, because they are a mental class. And then the skills you can choose from are these. And so with this, I think we want to do an Arcana and a History for our boy Zexel. And then our spell, this explains spellcasting. So in general, so as a student of arcane magic, you have a spell book that contains spells from the first glimmerings of your true power. and then you can see the spell rules on D&D Beyond. They are free, as well as the spell listings, or if you have the player's handbook handy as well. Wizards are one of the older classes. And then at first level, you get 3 cantrips. And with cantrips, the strong thing about cantrips is you never use a spell slot for a cantrip. However, they are generally weaker, but you can continuously do them. As a spellcaster, we'll get into cantrips once we choose spells. And then for wizards, we have a spell book. Now, if a DM is ever a jerk, they can destroy your spell book and you can lose all your spells. But there is a way around that. There is a advanced spell book that you can purchase as well, that gives your spell books a little bit more oomph. However, most DMs they won't take your spellbook away from you. Typically, the spellbook isn't exactly a targeted thing, but it can happen. So beware of water or large motes of fire and falling in them, and I think you should be okay. So now the cool thing about being a wizard is you can prepare and cast spells. And casting spells. So the cool thing about wizards is you can go around the world, and this is all on the DM and how they want to RP it. You can go around the world, learn spells, create your own spells once you get to a higher level, and really get into the studying of arcana and the magic, which is super cool. I have another wizard that I play in a homebrew, that I've played in a homebrew game, and he was he was trying to create his own version of a time-stopping spell, which is super cool, which is something you can do, but it does take a lot of time. It does take a lot of prep and materials as well. So be wary of that. And with preparing spells, just know after every long rest, you can prepare a set of spells, which we'll get into that later. And then your spellcasting ability, as I mentioned before, is intelligence. And then we'll get into the saving throw DCs as well. So in addition, your intelligence modifier when setting the saving throw DC for a wizard, the spell you cast and you making an attack roll with one. So the huge thing is you want to, like, with your spell save DC is 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence modifier. Bear in mind your proficiency bonus will increase every so often. So on paper, this is your proficiency bonus right here. That will increase over every few levels. So this with this, your at first level it's 2. At 5th, it would increase to 3. At 9th, it would increase to 4. At 13th, it would increase to 5, and then 17th, it would increase to 6. So bear that in mind when doing it on the paper character sheet, and also when you're doing your spell save DCs. Be sure to also remember to change them as well. But if you're doing this on D&D Beyond, you don't have to worry. It'll automatically do it. That's why we're taking care of most of this on D&D Beyond. Now with ritual casting is not using a spell slot. So I will show you, I will be putting a spell specifically. It's called Leonmid's Tiny Hut. It's one of my favorite spells in D&D. So I will be putting that on there and explaining ritual casting, but it does take 10 minutes plus casting. So a lot of times people say it's 10 minutes and you're done. No, it's actually 11. But some spells can take longer to ritual cast. So if you are ritual casting, say, I believe with higher level spells, it could take up to an hour to ritual cast, but sometimes, usually, it is just 11 minutes. Now, with the spellcasting focus, typically you would use a staff or an orb. You can use, if you look at the adventuring gear section in the PHB, you can see that you can figure out which kind of focus you want for your spells. And then learning spells of first level and higher. Each time you gain a level, you can add 2 wizard spells of your choice to your spell book for free. So you get 2 per level. So that is where, you know, if you do not have if your DM is very stingy with open world spells and you're just like, man, how am I going to gain spells if I can't, you know, learn any spells? I'm going to have no spells after level 1. That's not true. You get 2 free ones, and then from there you'll figure out the rest, you know, for extra spells, depending on what you want to learn. So if you're trying to find a specific spell, you'll eventually find it, but for you each upon level you will get at least 2. Now this is you guys can go in and read about your spell book and everything like that, and then, you know, this just speaks of time because it does take time and ink, and it, you know, depends on that's all RP, but it does, and it also depends on DM choice on how long it's going to take for you to copy it down and the price of materials. But you can also see the in the PHP, the PHP explains that as well. And then so Arcane Tradition. Now this is what you get at second level. So now the thing is, we're going blade singing, and these other ones like graviturgy, chronoturgy, that's gravity, time magic, that's from the Adventurer's Guide to Wildmount, the Order of Scribes, the School of Abjuration and Transmutation, and all those, and then War Magic. Those are all from other books. If you guys want to look at them, you can see them through the PHP. A lot of the schools of like abjuration, conjuration, divination, and all those are from the base book, War Magic, and all those and stuff. But yeah, we're gonna do blade singing. So the cool thing about blade singing wizards is you have the training in war and song. Now you can choose a one-handed melee weapon. Now I want to do a battle axe just because I think seeing a wizard with a battle axe would be kind of funny. That's just me. So you get one weapon of your choice to be proficiency in it, and then we always have proficiency in the performance skill, which is dope. And then we also get light armor and one-handed weapon, melee weapon, which is super cool. And then with the blade song, this is a second level blade singing feature. You can invoke elven magic of blade song, and while you weren't wearing medium or heavy armor or using a shield, it graces you with supernatural speed, and then you can use a bonus action to start it. The cool thing about it is you gain an AC equal to your intelligence modifier. You get your walking speed increases. You have advantages on dexterity, acrobatics checks. You give a bonus to Constitution saving throw to maintain. So it's an added on to your intelligence modifier, and then you can use this time. You can use it as much as your proficiency, which is 2 currently. And then the cool thing about this is now that we have all that set up, now there is the origin for additional wizard spells, and then cantrip formulas, which I like to check because it gives you a lot of spell options. Now, the thing is we have no, in our spell book, we have no spells, so we can add them. Now, the cool thing is at level 3, like we get to see, we get to look at all these, so we know that we get 3 cantrips and 3 spells. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna sort by cantrips, which those are level 0 spells. Now, the one thing that I like is as a cantrip is like encoding thoughts is really fun, and it allows us to pull memories from our mind and make a tangible string of glowing energy, which this is super cool. So that way, we can it's a lot. It's a lot of RP and explaining things, which is cool. And then we're gonna take Firebolt because why not? Firebolt levels with us, and then also we are going to grab Let's do. You know what? I'm gonna choose a green flame blade. Yeah, green flame blade. I like that because there's also like mage hand and things of that nature, which are really cool. And then now for the first spot, now we're building a character based on different things. So we'll take detect magic because we can ritual cast that, and then that'll be our ritual cast spells. And then also let's take burning hands, and then for level 2 spell, let's take I do love me enlarge and reduce, just because that is one of my favorite spells. Now, if you look here, you look, oh, prepared spells. Oh man, we know 3, but there are none here. So that means you have to come up to your prepared spells list and add them to your book here. So these are your prepared spells. And bam. So these ones are the ones that you have prepared. And then this is where you'll add them. Now, the abilities. This is where the rolling comes in. So this is where you will need your 4d6. We will be rolling them now. D&D Beyond has a rolling feature, but we're going to be doing them for here, and then I'll explain the modifiers and everything like that as well. So you get 4d6, and then you'll remove the lowest. So in this case, for me, oh, that was actually a really strong roll. I got a 6, 6, and a 5, and then a 1 in my case. So we would remove the 1, and then that would end up being 17. So 17 being the highest, I have a feeling I'm not going to roll any better. I'm going to put the highest available number into intelligence, because that is my main casting feature. And then we're going to do this a couple more times, and then I will be back with you guys when we do. All right, and we're back. So I actually rolled very well, and we got a 9, 16, 16, 17, 11, and 11, which is stellar for rolls. Now, the thing about it is, depending on the DM, you get, for me, when I DM games, I give players 1 mulligan. That means 1 free reroll on their character, because typically when you roll less than a 10, it kind of sucks. But in this case, we're just gonna roll with the 9 strength, being a wizard, and we rolled really well on the dexterity and constitution, which are important. Unfortunately, we didn't get too high on the wisdom or charisma, which is okay. Now, so the score calculation. So this, again, remember the character sheet, strength, dex, and all that. It's literally down here. So we have a -1. So we would actually put the -1 right here, and that small bottom, a little bubble, and then the 9 right there for the strength. So that is where this is how it should look if you're running the PDF, which is still in the description below of the video. And then you would put all of these in the same way. So with this, with our highest stat, which is intelligence, we have an 18. And you're wondering, well, wait, you said you rolled a 17. Well, it's because we have a racial bonus of +1. And then that brings our modifier, which is, we'll get into a little bit later. And then our base score. So we'll just take care of the modifier right now. So the modifiers are what are the defining factors of how you're doing your addition for the actual feats that you're doing, and how they look. We'll get into that when we look at the character sheet. So that is all where all the numbers are coming from, because with our -1 is because we have a 9, our 17 is a +3, our 18 is a +4. If you have a 19 or a 20, that's a +5. It goes up by every 2 levels. Now, description. This is your character details. So it's a lot like over here with personality traits, ideal, bonds, flaws, and the way your character looks. So this is for background. Now, with background, you can choose so insight and religion for like an acolyte, or I typically like to choose either hermit. Hermit is really fun. You get medicine and religion, and then herbalism kit. Or I do enjoy sage. Sage is really fun because it gives you a little bit more of abilities in order to do stuff. So now, like, I like to choose, like, for this we'll choose perception, and then we'll choose stealth, because there's a little bit of metagaming in inside of building your character, because you want it to be the best you can be. So if you have background options available to you, choose one that makes sense to you as well as what you want to do. And then also the cool thing about this is we get more options. So I will choose, let's choose deep speech. Let's choose some random ones. Deep speech, and you know what? Let's choose Gith, just because. And then you get little cool tidbits like research. You can use it to, find lore. And then this gives you some characteristics for some faults, flaw, personality traits, ideals, bonds, flaws as well, if you're struggling to find any. And then these are character details. So alignment. There are several. So there are chaotic evil, good, neutral, lawful, evil, good, neutral, neutral, and then evil, neutral, good. You can really choose any ones that you want. I mean, I'm probably going to be neutral, good, and then your faith is where you would put like a deity or what you believe in, or if you don't have one, then you don't need one. And then you have lifestyle options. Now, for us, we're gonna be modest because we're wizards. We live in a wizard family and stuff. We gotta learn somehow. And then these are your notes of allies and organizations. We'll look at that in a little bit. And now equipment. The cool thing about equipment is D&D Beyond auto assigns you a lot of things. So like for equipment here, you can choose a quarterstaff, a components. We'll do an arcane focus, and then see we'll do a no, we'll do a staff, and then we'll have an explorer's pack, and we'll have a spell book, and then see you can choose a bottle of black ink, a quill, a small knife, and then a letter from a dead colleague posing a question you've not been able to answer. It's like an RP hook for you, and then a set of common clothes, and then a pouch containing 10 gold. And that's your starting equipment. And here it is all in your inventory. So with the starting equipment, you get a water skin, a torch, a tinderbox, and then for a wizard, we have a staff, a spell book, a small knife is in the adventures pack. Rope is 1 day's ration, a mess kit, and then the ink, common clothes, bedroll, and backpack are in the adventures kit. So if you look here, it says adventuring gear, and then that's where they all are, which is super cool, and which makes it really nice. But don't forget your torches and everything like that, because those are really important. Now we have that all set. Now what's next? The cool thing about this is you can actually export this as a, say you don't have a phone or you don't want to take a phone with you, you can export this as a PDF. So you can bring this, you can have D&D Beyond, and say you want to roll, like I have currently physical dice here. Say you want to roll physical dice and you just want the piece of paper, you can export this to a PDF and then print it out. And say you only have one character, or you just want a quick, just easy way to read it, you can do that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to view character sheet. Now, this is the cool part is, see, the strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, charisma, they're all there. So 10 and 11 is 0. We don't have any bonuses to them. And then you see these black pips. Those, as I was mentioning in the first video, that's how you signify what you're proficient in. See, we have a 6 int, 2 wisdom. So these are all our saving throws, which are over here, which are is this whole box right here. I just highlighted all that and didn't need to. But see, that's all this right here where my cursor is. And then we have our skills and abilities down here, which are all these. So see how we chose acrobatics, arcana, history, perception, performance, stealth. Then we're able to see what we have a plus in, what we have a minus in. And now bear in mind, as we have a lot of initiative, a +8 initiative, especially for a wizard, is crazy. But remember, we have our feat, and then our proficiency bonus is here, and which, as we mentioned before, it will go up as we go. And then our walking speed. We didn't do anything for health, but if you come back to the character sheet here, up here you can go to manage HP. And then so we have a +9 currently because it goes up by the constitution bonus. And so for us it's a 3d6. Bear in mind we get the 6 automatically. So if we wanted to roll 2, so first level is always max constitution and max dice. Max dice and then plus your constitution. So if we wanted to roll, we only need to roll 2d6, which we didn't roll. We got, so it'd be level 1 would be 6, 7, 8, 8, and then 9, 10, 11, 12. So we rolled a little bit better. So we would put 12 right here, and then see, bam, it would go to 21. Because we have a higher constitution, which is a +3 from constitution, but D&D Beyond adds it. So it would be a 1d6 +3 every time you leveled and you rolled. But always level 1, you get max dice plus your constitution. Now, the cool thing about D&D Beyond is the way that it lays everything out. So see, we have light armor because of our subclass. And then we have weapons that we can use. We can pick up a battle axe, and then we don't have any tools. And then here's all the languages that we chose, which is super, super cool. And then, as I mentioned, these are all stealth, and these are all based off of our proficiencies and the dex, wisdom, and strength, and charisma. And then here we have a spell, which is we can choose what we want to see. So this is what we can use as an attack action, but you're wondering, well, where's your weapons? Also, remember, guys, in your inventory, do not forget to equip your items. In this case, we only have a quarterstaff, which is fine. So, and then you see how the quarterstaff came up, and bam, and we have a +1 to hit with the quarterstaff, but we also have a -1 to the damage, unfortunately, because strength. It's sad. But these are the cool things about D&D Beyond, because all the way at the bottom here, we do have all our spells and everything like that with our cantrips. For D&D Beyond, they list them all here. So level 0, which is our cantrips, it's Encode Thoughts, the Firebolt and Green Flame Blade, first level spells, and then you have the pips because you have 4 slots available for level 1 spells. And then currently we don't have any level 2 spells. And then these are our ritual casts, detect magic. So that's the cool thing, is you don't have to have a spell slot for it as well. So bam, you don't have to use your spell slots for it, which is super, super, super cool. Which is really, really nice. And for here, if you're on D&D Beyond, you can have those all there as well. And then you can actually add more spells there too, which is super, super, super dope. And the way that it lists it. But if you're using a character sheet, just write all the 3 cantrips and then make sure to add the spells and everything like that. And then if you're upcasting, if the spells have ability upcast it here. So for instance, let's choose Let's add a spell, Chromatic Orb. All right, and we're back. So for these, if you're upcasting spells, you can see here, bringing up to second level, it will tell you on D&D Beyond where how much more damage it does for 4d6, or in the case of that, it's 3d6. So you can upcast spells as well. And then for your inventory, as we showed before, you can see all of the equipment and then attunement items, which is cool, and then also your gold. And then for features and traits, these are all the things that we were doing before. I'm not going to go through that, but these all show that, and as well as the alert feat that we picked up in the beginning. So everything is there, and then you can also sort via these tabs here. Description, this is where your background is, and again, this is all background stuff depending on how you have it. And then notes, these are just other backstory. This is where you can put your backstory for your DM to see, and then other things. And then the extras are if you have familiars, you can choose a category of creatures and then objects such as like horses or vehicles or anything like that, if you choose. And then here we do have again the conditions for all of these, and then exhaustion, and then your defenses if you have resistances or immunities. And then again, we're going to head back to actions here. So you have your attacks, you have what you can do on an action. So if you're ever in a position of uh, a bartender, a bouncer walks up to you and grabs your wrist, and in your mind, you're like, I don't want to kill this man. Say you can use your disengage, dodge, and then other actions as well as spells. And then bonus action, we only have Blade Song. It will change depending on what class you're playing as well. And then reaction is an opportunity attack, or if you have anything else. And then actions in other actions in combat, such as like detect magic, arcane recovery in our case, to recoup some spells. So you do have other things that you can use, as such as your arcane recovery and then your cantrip formulas as well. And then you have your limited use, such as blade song and arcane recovery as well. So depending on what you want to use there. So guys, gals, everything in between. That's going to be the end of the video. If you have any questions, I'll leave a link to my Discord down below. If you have any questions, please be sure to join the Discord, and feel free to ask any questions. I'd like to thank you all guys for this is going to be a long video. Again, these videos tend to be, but please join the Discord if you have any questions, or if you have anything that you want to ask or add or see from me in the future as well. But it was fun being able to build a character with you guys, and let me know what you guys think and what you guys want to know in the future. Until next time, y'all, everybody. Bye bye.